Hello and welcome back. It's been a while. This is the first weekend in February now, and I haven't done any filming. I haven't been out for any big adventures since New Year's Day, when I had that absolutely fantastic climb up Donegal for the sunrise, which I absolutely loved. Second time I've done that and it's still magical. Anyway, today's something a wee bit different. It's not very spring-like, it's not very winter-like either. But it's, as I said, the first weekend in February, and today's Sunday. It's my day off work, and what I'd like to try and do a lot of Sundays now is head up into the hills for a hike. But it's a horrible day for a walk in the hills. It's really drizzly, kind of one of those constant, steady, mizzly, drizzly, low cloud days that are horrible in the hills. And as you can probably hear, and maybe even see there behind me, it's quite stormy as well, quite gusty winds and so on, so I really didn't fancy a day in the hills. The other thing that's been tickling away at the back of my mind this last while is wanting to spend the night out. I haven't been wild camping now since May last year, when I joined the other group of YouTubers on that brilliant trip in the Mourne Mountains. So that's the last time I've slept out in a tent, or even just slept outside at all. So it's been kind of ticking away at the back of my mind that I'd like to do that again. So I've come up with a cunning plan, as Baldrick would say.
It's a cunning plan, actually. Of course it is.
I'm in one of my local woods where I like to go for a walk fairly regularly. Even if I'm not in the hills, I would come up here fairly often. And this is actually the forest where I filmed, God, I don't know when it was now. It was probably back in October, maybe even earlier. And I went out into the woods and put up a tarp, made myself a cup of tea, and I was just practicing tarp and putting up a ridgeline and stuff like that. Well, I'm going back to that same location today, and the plan is to camp there tonight. Now, it's about 1:30 in the afternoon now. As I said, it's February, so it's still getting dark fairly early, and it's a horrible day. So what I've decided to do, I've had my lunch at home, packed up my bag, and I'm going to head up into the forest. I'm going to set up my camp, and then I'm going to head back to the house again and do a few things about the house this afternoon. Have dinner with Katrina and the boys, and then about 8 o'clock or so this evening I'm going to come walking back up here to the camp, and I'm going to spend the night. It's really, although the weather's horrible, it's really mild. It's about 11 or 12 degrees here at the moment, and it's forecasting not to drop below about 9 tonight. So stay tuned to see what I'm going to sleep in tonight. I'm not exactly going to sleep in a tent, just put it like that. So if you stay watching, you'll see what I'm going to do tonight. So anyway, I'm almost just a short walk from the forest gate. I've just driven up here, so first short walk on the forest track, and then I head into the trees and make my way to where I'm hopefully going to spend the night. I haven't even checked the ground there to see if it's suitable for sleeping on, so I hope it actually is, or this could be a bit of a wasted plan. But anyway, let's see how we get on. As always, thanks for clicking on the video, thanks for joining me, and I hope you enjoy this little micro adventure. Less than 10 minutes drive from home. This is the spot I came to before. So when I was here that time, I'd kind of earmarked it as a great spot for a hammock camp, and it's absolutely perfect for that. But unfortunately the ground here is way too hummocky. There's evidence of some old trees that have been cut down, and just humps on the ground that were left from during the planting time. So although the trees are very well established here, there's still some evidence of that yet. So I'm going to head along the edge of the wood here a wee bit and see if I can find a more flatter spot to set up camp. But this is definitely a good spot for a hammock. I talked the last time about coming back and doing a hammock camp, and I never did. I'm a wee bit worried about the cold in the hammock, and I don't have an under blanket yet, so I need to get my hands on one of those this year, and definitely give hammock camping a try out. So anyway, let's find another spot for a camp. I think I found a spot. It's not perfect, but I think it'll do. Bit of an open area here where a couple of trees didn't really make it during the growing phase. They look like they've died back completely. It's not overly flat, but I think it'll have to do the job. It's as good as I'm going to get here anyway. So, and it's nice and open over that side and just out here behind the camera as well. So come the morning time, I should get a bit of brightness, so I'm not going to be in the dark for hours after dawn. I don't think I'll get a sunrise in the morning, even though I'm close to the edge of the woods, but listen, that's not what it's about tonight. Yeah, right, I'm going to go with this spot and I want to see how I get on. Here's where the fun starts now. So, as I mentioned earlier in the walk-in, I'm not going to sleep in a tent tonight. The last time I slept in the woods, I slept in under a tarp. I set it up as a plough point, and I have to say I really enjoyed that. So I'm going to do something similar this time. I have my DD 3x3 tarp with me, but instead of setting it up on a plough point, I'm going to set it up as a tarp tent design. So for anybody who doesn't know what a tarp tent looks like, I'm going to pop a picture up on the screen now. But essentially you set it up like it's like a pyramid shaped tent. You use one trekking pole and you use a minimal amount of pegs, although I'm going to use more pegs than is required. And what it does is it gives you a good bit more coverage. So if it does, because it's given it to rain tonight up until about 8, somewhere between 8 and 10 o'clock this evening, and it's been mizzling and drizzling all day, so it is quite damp here under the trees, although there's not too much penetrating through. But just in case it rains tonight, and although it's fairly mild, it's still only February, so I figure this will keep a little bit more heat in because it's a good bit more enclosed than the plough point and gives a lot more protection from the rain and the elements. It's also very stable in windy conditions, although I'm not going to have any wind in here underneath the trees, so I don't need it for that. But I have an ulterior motive for practicing this that I'll talk about later on this evening or maybe tomorrow morning. But I have also set this up once before. My very first wild camp was on Dewey's Mountain, which is nowhere near a mountain, it's a big hill, and I camped up there in the midst of the heather on my very first wild camp, and I set this up in the back garden a couple of days beforehand as a tarp tent, and then out on Dewey's Hill or Dewey's Mountain itself as a tarp tent, and slept in it for the very first time while camping. And my first time camping in about 15-20 years I think it was as well, so this will be nice to get this set up again. I watched a couple of videos this afternoon just to remind me the procedure for setting it up, but it really is quite simple. I'm not going to run through all the details of how to set it up. I'll probably do a separate video on that, but there's already loads of videos on YouTube about how to set these up as a tarp tent already, so I'm just going to batter on and set it up, and I'll still film bits and pieces and you'll see it going up, but I'll probably do a more in-depth and detailed description of how to do it at a later date. So right, let's get it up anyway. Right, so that's not going to work. I just don't have enough space here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it up as a plough point, same as what I did before. Now, I don't have a ridgeline with me, and I don't really want to set it up too close to a tree like the way a normal plough point would be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my trekking pole, and I'm going to set it to its maximum height and try and set it up as a plough point that way. So time to start again. It's set up. Oh, it's a bit of a mess, but anyway, it's set up, and I think that turned out to be about the third version of what I was trying to do. So eventually I had to give in and set it up as a traditional plough point. I've used, at the top there you can see a narrow tree, small tree, and I have it tied to that at the top, and then coming down here at the back in the traditional plough point design and out to the two sides. I set the tent up the wrong way round, or the tarp laid it out the wrong way round for doing the plough point, but I've been able to tie it off here with the guy line at the back to give me a bit of extra height inside. Inside at the minute I just have the ground sheet from my Helm Compact 1, so that's going to be my sleeping surface tonight, and I've laid out my Alp Kit hunk of bivy bag just to make sure I've got enough space and lay down, and I do have enough space and I am well enough sheltered, so fingers crossed I will have a good night's sleep here anyway. But as I said earlier, the main aim of this is about the morning. I want to waken up with the dawn, I want to waken up to the birds, and I want to cook my breakfast out here in the woods in the morning, so the sleeping out is just a bonus as well. So anyway, that's as good as I'm going to get it now this afternoon. I can't show you inside because it's too dark, and I don't have my light with me, but I'll show you either this evening or I'll show you tomorrow morning, one of the two. But that's me set up for camp tonight anyway. I'm going to head home now. That sounds weird saying that, but I'm going to head home now and do a few jobs about the house, and then get my dinner and then come back down here this evening. So hopefully you can come back and join me and see how I get on overnight tonight. Oh, it's a mess, but I know it's going to do. Well, everything survived the afternoon and now. Tons of space in underneath there, and the rear guide line, it's definitely reflective anyway. Doesn't look so bad in the dark. Well, it's home for the night now. Welcome back. Well, I made it. I'm here, I'm in the woods. It has dried up quite considerably from the afternoon. All that drizzly rain has gone away. The forecast was right, it pretty much stopped just after 8 o'clock. It's now about 20 past 9 or so, and although the rain has gone away, I don't know if you can hear it or not on the camera, but it's got very, very windy. Weather forecast is saying between 35 and 40 kilometers an hour, but there must be gusts at least 60 kilometers an hour. It was quite stormy coming up the road, walking up the road, so I hope it calms down a wee bit shortly. The forest's not exactly the best place to be when it's very, very windy, but it should be okay. Where I am, the trees aren't that old, but at the same time they're fairly well established. It's probably about 25 years old, I'd say, this part of the plantation, so I don't think there's much chance of anything coming down, and I'm not that close to the edge either, so yeah, fingers crossed everything goes okay. Yeah, that was a good idea doing that today. I wouldn't have fancied coming here and trying to set the tarp up in the dark, so I'm glad I did that this afternoon, because if I hadn't have, it would have been very difficult when I came here, but more likely I wouldn't have come out at all. The fact that I came up during the day in the daylight and broke it up has made this wee micro adventure an awful lot easier. And my main reason for going home, we had a Chinese takeaway for dinner. I didn't say that earlier on, but that was a big incentive to go back home and get my dinner. Otherwise I probably would have been tempted just to stay out for the evening, maybe go for a walk after I got here, and then come back and cook my dinner. But no, the lure of the Chinese takeaway was too much. Where I am is about 4.5 kilometers walk from home, so I did actually walk from home. I packed up my bag with everything I'm going to need tonight, and just came straight here. And as you probably saw already, I spoiled myself. I brought my little camp chair with me as well, because I'll probably stay up for, what time is it now? Yeah, it's 9:15, so I'll probably stay up for about half an hour, 45 minutes or so, and I'm going to have a cup of tea maybe and a couple of biscuits before I go to bed, and then maybe sit and read a book for a while, so maybe enjoy the ambience of the forest while I'm here. Although it is quite noisy with the wind, and there's a lot of movement in the trees and creaking and small bits and pieces of branches falling down, so it's a wee bit nervy at the same time, but no, I'm looking forward to my night out. It's stayed very, very mild. It's hard to believe it's the first week in February. According to Garmin, it's still 11 degrees, and according to Met Éireann, it's to go no lower than 9 degrees tonight, so it should be very comfortably warm to sleep. Anyway, I'm going to make a cup of tea and have a couple of chocolate biscuits, and then get set up for the night. Brought my MSR pocket rocket with me tonight. It's the first time I've used this in ages. I got a Jetboil style knockoff a while back, and I've been using that for a lot of my day hikes, but I figure because I'm going to be doing a wee bit of cooking tomorrow morning for my breakfast, frying up some bacon and sausages and eggs, that I figured the pocket rocket might be a better job for that. Forgot how noisy it was. It lives up to its name anyway. Gonna have to make apologies to Jason from Rambling On if you're watching this. It's hard to beat chocolate biscuits, and without a doubt McVitie's home wheat chocolate digestives, I think their proper name is, are absolutely the best. But unfortunately there was none in the house tonight, and I've had to go with the Aldi knockoff version. Belmont doesn't trip off the tongue like McVitie's does, but they're still tasty and they still go well with a cup of tea, so I'm not going to really complain. Now that's everything all set up for the night. I think I'm actually going to head to bed shortly. Actually, it's not that late. It's about 10:15 now, but feeling quite tired and I feel like an early night. It's a wee bit strange sitting here, I have to admit. It's a bit weird when all you can see is about 20 meters away, or less than 20 meters away, and vague outlines of the trunks of the trees and the creaks of the trees, the odd little bit of branches falling down, the noise of the wind. It is quite peaceful, but it's I must admit it's a wee bit weird. I'd say it's very different from spending the night on the top of a mountain. A lot less noisy on top of a mountain, I'd say. It's funny, I didn't have this feeling the last time I slept out in the woods. Manellan is a very different kind of woods. It definitely wasn't as stormy that night, and I probably had more to do as well. I cooked dinner that night, so maybe just settled down a wee bit more, but definitely does feel a wee bit weird here tonight. Anyway, my sleeping system's all set up. I think you can see it there behind me. Nothing's changed since the last time I slept out. Well, a wee bit has changed, I suppose. I'm using the ground sheet from my Helm Compact 1 tent. The ground here is quite wet, so I wanted a good ground sheet that I could set my sleeping system on top of, and that I could peg to the ground as well. So using the footprint from the Helm Compact 1, as I said, I have a Decathlon version of the Thermarest Z-Lite, so a closed cell folding mat underneath my sleeping mat, which is the same sleeping mat I've always had. Can't remember. Yeah, Unigear, that's who it's from. It's just a cheapy one. It's not that expensive, but I'm figuring, although the ground's quite cold, the combination of the folding mat and the inflatable mattress should hopefully keep me warm through the night. And then I have my OEX sleeping bag, and the major purchase that I made for my sleeping system this year was the Alp Kit Hunka Bivy. I would like to get a bivy camp done at some stage this year, and a bivy's kind of useful on a night like this. It'll add an extra thermal layer, I suppose. Well, not exactly a thermal layer, but it'll trap some more heat inside my sleeping system, and it'll protect my bag from getting damp. Although the way the tarp's set up, there shouldn't be any, well, it's not going to rain tonight anyway, hopefully, but there shouldn't be any dampness coming at me at all anyway. But still, it's just nice to have that extra layer. So right, I'm going to get myself bedded down and read my book for a wee while and then go to sleep. So as Hayes Outdoor says, unless something tragic or magic happens during the night, I'll hopefully see you in the morning after a good night's sleep, and we can hopefully waken up to the dawn chorus. Good night, sleep well. Morning. Oh, jiggers, it's cool. That was a long night. Which you can probably tell by the puffy looking face. Oh dear, oh, it was really stormy all night. And I got barely any sleep, hardly slept at all last night. I was in bed, lay down to sleep about 10:30 or so, and it's now 8:30. So it's at about 10 hours, but I'd say if I got an hour and a half sleep out of that, that's about the height of it. It was it's still quite windy now, but it was really stormy at times last night. In fact, I think at about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock I decided I was going home, and then I just changed my mind again because I couldn't bother packing everything up in the dark. But at 2 o'clock it was really bad. It was like you could hear the wind coming, you could hear the trees over that direction over there, you could hear the wind coming. You could hear the trees moving, and then all of a sudden the trees above me, there was a big of wind as it passed over, and then you could hear it in the trees further away again then as well. But Jesus, it was really bad. I think that's why I couldn't sleep, because it was so stormy. I don't know. The pitch where I am here as well is not good. The ground slopes a wee bit, and the best sleeping position, I was a wee bit too close to the tarp, so the tarp kept hitting me in the face whenever there was a gust of wind. So all in all, it wasn't very good. But anyway, as the saying goes, sometimes you have to do crap camps like this to enjoy the good ones. So I'm still glad I did it. I'm still glad I came out. The plan this morning was to cook up breakfast and before I pack up and head home, but I've forgotten the bloody handle from a frying pan. Jesus. So and it's so cold. Well, it's not cold. It is cold, but it's not that cold. But it's so dull and dark and gloomy that I really can't be arsed. So I think I'm just gonna pack up. I'm not even gonna bother making a cup of tea. But I'm just gonna pack everything up and head for home, really. About 45 minutes or an hour will take me home, and then I'll make a proper cup of tea and make a proper cooked breakfast when I get back to the house. But yeah, it's been an experience. This probably didn't turn out to, didn't turn out to the video that I expected it to be, so I'm sure it didn't turn out to be the video you expected either. But if you did make it this far, thanks for coming along with me. I do have some plans for 2024 that I was going to talk about this morning, but I'll maybe do a shorter video later on in the week and just outline those. And I will do a video in the next few weeks demonstrating how to do the pyramid tent. No, sorry, not pyramid tent, the tarp tent setup that I hope to use during one of those plans when I go away later this year. So stay tuned for that. As always, thanks for coming along and joining me, and I hope to see you in the next one. Cheers.